Can you explain hyperbarics? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure people that
Yeah,
are
sure.
listening have heard the term hyperbarics and they just probably picture Michael Jackson sleeping in an oxygen tube. But actually break it down a little bit because we know hyperbarics, was it hyper and hypo,
Yeah.
barracks, but
Yep.
let's discuss it a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, let me get a nickel back on Michael Jackson because you see that thing of him being pushed into the hyperbaric chamber, that picture, and there was a rumor he slept in a hyperbaric chamber. That never actually happened. So what happened was, do you remember the Pepsi commercial? You're old enough. He's probably not,
where they
but-
set his hair on fire.
Right. They set his hair on fire and he got burned. So he went to the burn center in Miami and they took real good care of him. Why? Because he's Michael freaking Jackson. So they took great care of him. And then he was like, I'm going to donate a whole bunch of money to the burn unit in Miami. And with that money, they bought a chamber. So when they bought that chamber as a publicity stunt, they just put Michael Jackson on the little thing and they pushed him in there halfway in, halfway out, and they started taking pictures and it was like, whoa, Michael Jackson sleeps in a chamber. Yeah, no, did not happen, wasn't a thing. So he never actually did that kind of hyperbarics. Now he slept in a tent and all that other stuff and did whatever he did. I don't know. I'm not going to profess to be a, knowledge of Michael Jackson's home life. But bottom line being, in hyperbarics, what you do is specifically to hyperbarics, you're going to pressurize. It's hyperbarics, too much pressure or more pressure, right? Hypobarics is less pressure. So we're currently at 14.7 pounds per square inch. Let's just call it 15. But if you measured and weighed all the molecules that are in a square inch of space between here and the top of the stratosphere, all those molecules would weigh 15 pounds, give or take. Same thing when you go underwater. When you go underwater, every 33 feet you go underwater, if you weigh a column of water, it's 15 pounds. So it's the same as another atmosphere. And another atmosphere, and because of gas laws and pressures and pressure volume temperature relationship, you get to squeeze gas into a smaller space, right? Because it's twice the it's twice the volume, but it winds up being twice the pressure. So because your lungs are compliant, they'll open up and you'll get to be able to breathe twice as much gas. So it's like taking in 200% oxygen instead of on the surface breathing 100% oxygen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's a couple of really cool things that come in with that. So once you get to the point where you're breathing 200% oxygen, for instance, normally plasma is transporting your oxygen, right? No, I'm sorry. Normally, hemoglobin is transporting your oxygen. Under hyperbaric conditions, plasma is sufficient to transport oxygen. So as the size goes, hemoglobin's pretty big and plasma's pretty small. So plasma can get everywhere, even in poorly perfused tissue. You have ischemia, you have this ache, this pinch, something. All of that is hypoxic, right? Which means it does hypoxic, doesn't have enough oxygen. Exactly. So what you're looking to do is the hemoglobin can't get through because they're too big because there's a little restriction. Well, plasma can get through anywhere. Plasma can weep everywhere. So, and they did a study in 1956. It was called Life Without Blood. So what they did was they took a whole bunch of pigs. Yet again, we were talking a pig story just a couple minutes ago. They took a whole bunch of pigs. They took them down to 3 atmospheres, which is effectively 66 feet of seawater, 3 atmospheres absolute. They pressurized them with 100% oxygen, and then they exsanguinated them. They pulled all the red blood cells out of them, replaced it with nothing but like plasma, if you will. And then pigs lived. And we used to do open heart surgery in the 50s and 60s at 3 atmospheres. Why? Because you didn't need that load in the hemoglobin. You didn't have to load up the oxygen with, the hemoglobin didn't have to load up oxygen. The plasma can transport sufficient amount of oxygen to support cellular respiration.
I'm going back. I'm a loaded freight train and I'm right on track.